Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. And welcome to day 2 of Power Rangers. I don't know. We're on day 21 of Birth Month. We're talking about Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. I'm revisiting that because I figured if I'm doing the first one, I got to do this one. I'm not doing a 2017 one. That'll be later. Whatever. So, the first one was a minor success. Garnered a lot of money from the box office. And so after 2 more seasons of the show, they figured, let's do another one. However, first one wasn't successful enough to merit this one going into theaters. Nope. Direct to DVD in 1997. Or direct to video in 1997. DVDs hadn't happened yet. No. And I remember seeing the commercial for this. And, they spoiled the biggest thing in the trailer, and that being that Justin was going to be the new Blue Ranger. By literally showing a scene where he says, "Guys, I'm going to be the new Blue Ranger." Which led us to go, half of us went, "What about Rocky?" The other half went, "Is that the kid from the first one?" Because I was one of those. "Oh, the kid from the first one's going to be a Power Ranger." That's not the kid from the first one, and we'll find out what happens to Rocky. It's so stupid. So, yeah. I already talked about Turbo in another video. I have a whole review of that. Go watch that. It's a little outdated, but I'm not redoing those as of yet. I know I got to get to Lost Galaxy and beyond, Power Rangers. I want to do more stuff, but I don't know. Anyway. And so this one is actually canon to the show, and that takes place between Zeo and Turbo. To me, I've always seen Zeo's finale as a non-ending. Yes, the Machine Empire was technically defeated, but the Rangers didn't lose their powers. The only one who lost their powers was Jason. He's no longer the Gold Ranger. But the Rangers never lost their powers. The Machine Empire was defeated. They defeated King Mondo, and then what was left was defeated by Lord Zed and Rita and set them up to be the new villains for this next season. But they completely scrapped that. Zed and Rita have a small cameo in this one, but other than that, they're completely scrapped for this. Yeah. And the show was toned way down from what it was, because maybe it was toned way up. I don't know. It wasn't as dark as it was. I think that Zeo was a little more serious than Mighty Morphin. It got a little more serious. There was a little more serious topics. Tommy's long lost brother. The Gold Ranger saga was very serious. Tommy getting brainwashed. Him and Jason come back together to be friends. Rocky facing adversity, thinking that because Jason's back, he's going to be pushed further and further. Now there's no longer Red Ranger and all that stuff. And a lot of serious stuff. So here they said, let's add a kid to the cast and make it more child-friendly. And Turbo became the goofiest season of at least it's probably the goofiest season, but it's, to me anyway, the worst, at least, of the Saban era. Maybe there's some worse ones. I can't think of one. A lot of people would point to the Neo Saban era as worse. Is Megaforce worse than this season? Than Turbo? I don't know. But we're talking about the movie, not just the thing. So, the biggest elephant in the room with this movie is Justin. They decided the best way to gear this more towards kids again is to, hey, let's actually have a kid be a Power Ranger. I refer you to a movie I reviewed earlier this month. How about no? No, it was not a good decision. However, he did not make it past this season, which is good. He does have a one episode walk-on cameo, he appears in one episode in space, but they learned their lesson. It became a little more serious after that. They learned that this was not a good idea, but yeah. I actually have my own idea of how to fix Turbo Power Rangers movie, make it more serious, make it work better. I'm thinking about doing a video on it, but don't. Don't quote me on that. I'm still thinking about it. But anyway, so the movie starts, much like the last one, with a text scroll. This time with Zordon reading it, because that makes more sense than someone we don't even know. So Zordon is reading it this time, telling us about Larago, and how he's on a distant embattled planet, and he's being chased by Divatox and her Piranhatrons, who only look like this for this part of the movie, and not for the rest of the movie or the entire Turbo season. Do you see ones that look like this? No, he's a wizard from another planet. He's a little dude, little furry dude, kind of like Station. Kind of looks like Station. This could be Mars, but it's green and not red. So, I don't know. It's Jupiter. I don't know. He's being chased, and he beams himself off the planet to Earth in Africa. So, the same place they were filming, just a different part of it. Because I'm pretty sure they just filmed in the same place, a different part of the forest, I think. Meanwhile, on Earth, the male Rangers are preparing for a karate tournament because this is Power Rangers. And Rocky overdoes a kick and lands on his back, injuring himself. If this is not the dumbest thing. Steve Cardenas wanted to leave the show. He wanted to leave, he was done, he wanted out. And they were replacing him with Justin because, yeah. But of all the ways to write a character out, and even within the context of this movie and the show, it doesn't make sense because we find out that Larago, later, he heals Kat. He can heal Rocky, and Rocky can be a Power Ranger. But they don't do that. They ignore their own canon because Steve Cardenas wanted to leave the show. And we gotta introduce a kid character for the kids' show. It makes no sense. He heals Kat, but they can't bring him to the hospital room to heal Rocky. Is that too inconspicuous? People know him. By the way, why is he in a hospital room? This is Power Rangers. Brush it off, right? Never, and anywhere in Power Rangers, has anyone had a serious injury like this until now. Then we got a hospital room or local medical facility, as they say on wrestling. I got an itch. I converted my other tripod into a back scratcher. It works. There we go. So yeah, this really doesn't make any sense. But he's cut it off, and before this happens, we see that Kat and Tanya are volunteering with kids from the shelter, and that's where we meet Justin. He's homeless, but not really, because his dad is still around. He just lives at the shelter. His dad's just busy, I guess. Because throughout the show, we see that his dad's still somewhat around, just not around enough to be around with him. I don't know. They mentioned his mom died, but yeah. And this whole karate thing is to fight for the shelter so that the shelter doesn't get shut down. The shelter for kids who have no home or something like that. Yeah. And then see that Bulk and Skull are once again police officers, despite the fact that the end of Zeo does not set that up at all. Nope. The end of Zeo, they were in Zeo. So during Zeo, they get fired from being police officers and become private detectives. At the end of the season, Bulk and Skull decide they're going to go to France to be their own private detectives over there and leave. But here, they're just cops again. This is because I believe it was setting up their spin-off, which didn't happen, but they were filming it anyway, which is why they were invisible at the beginning of Turbo. Or turn into monkeys, then invisible. I don't know. I never cared for that plotline either. No. But here, they're security guards at a baseball game. And the baseball game plays no part in this other than you see Divatox's ship fly over it for a second. No. Divatox has now figured out where Larago is. And by the way, if you're trying to gear this Moto Kids, you got Divatox here whose cleavage is saying hello. I mean, when I had a sexual awakening here. at 10 years old. I was like, because you got the cleavage hanging out, like this is a kids show, and you were trying to gear this more towards kids, but your main villain has her tits hanging out, basically. Is like, what? Let's gear this more towards kids. Let's show all the cleavage in the world from this chick. And he has to go without saying that Hillary Shepard Turner would have to leave and be replaced with another actress, Carol Hoyt, for the bulk of the show until the power transfers. Then they switched back because she was pregnant, I think it was. But now she's fine here. So, with Rocky injured, what did they do? Well, first of all, Justin shows up, and for some reason, hides underneath Rocky's bed when the other Rangers show up. This has never made any sense. They never make it clear that he's not supposed to be there. But this is where he finds out that they are the Power Rangers. And the only reason why he hides under the bed is so he can find out that they're the Power Rangers. Otherwise, this scene makes no sense, because why is he hiding underneath it? They established that he's not supposed to leave the shelter, fine. But they don't establish that. This makes no sense. So they go to the power chamber, what it's called now, and they're told about Larigo. And for some reason, the teleporter doesn't work to teleport Larigo there. Can't track him down to teleport him, I guess. So they gotta send Tommy and Kat to Africa, which I think is actually filmed in Australia. They make a comment. This looks like some parts of Australia. No shit. But, yeah. And they say you have to use power packs to get to Larigo. But that doesn't take them straight to Larigo, though. Who the hell is calling me? If this is H&R Block again, I'm not ready. I'll look at it when I'm done. I'll leave a message, maybe. I have to dismiss this because I can't. Anyway. Where was I? So they say they have these power packs that will take them to Larigo. Well, it takes them to Africa, but they don't find Larigo right away. No, instead they trudge around to find a snake. By the way, there's a deleted scene, because it was on the back of the VHS box, where Tommy has a flamethrower of some sort. That's not in the movie, but it's on the back of the VHS box. They put it on the back of the VHS box, and it makes no sense, but I don't know. It's there. They see a snake and decide to jump away from it, causing her to fall off a cliff. She goes to morph to her Zeo thing because she's halfway through the Zeo. Use her Zeo powers, and because she's halfway through the morph, when she hits the water, it disintegrates them. My guess has always been she hits the water before she's done, and the morpher gets wet, so it stops it. That was my thing. You know, like if you have your phone on and you fall in the river, your phone's going to stop working. Any electronic's going to stop working, is my thought. Tommy jumps in, saves her, but she's hurt her leg, so they have to put a splint together and find Larigo. Meanwhile, Bulk and Skull are driving around and are found by Divatox, and they are taken in as sacrifices for Malagor, but they landed in fish, so they're stinky, and Larigo has wiped their brains. And later we find out that Skull is now Spanish and thinks that his name is Antonio Bandana, and Bulk is now German or Swedish. You all speaking to us? Austrian, maybe? I don't know. I don't know why they do that. They're trying to make him goofy. I don't know. And she just says that they're not going to work and to throw them in the brig. I guess. I don't know what they're going to do with them before anything else happens, but I don't know. It's not really... I don't know. They could be so much more important. Bulk and Skull can be so much more important, and they just constant... funny people. They're just there for jokes, and that's all this is, and it bugs me. It really is. It really does. So Tommy and Cat find Larago and are able to bring him back thanks to some chimpanzees, which Tommy says thank you to for some reason. I don't know if they understand it, but maybe they do. And they go back to the power chamber, and they heal Larago, which again, they're able to heal Larago, but they can't. They're able to heal Larago, but they can't heal Rocky. Anyway, Divatox sends a message to Larago saying that she's got his family and also 2 other people that she kidnapped as sacrifices that so happen to be former Power Rangers, Jason and Kimberly. And I love Tommy's reaction. He's like, Kimberly and Jason. Like he cares about Kimberly. They're not together anymore. They broke up in Zeo, but seeing his friends in trouble. So the trade is trade Larago for Jason and Kimberly. But it turns out to be a trap, because of course it is, and they just take Larago and leave dummies behind. Yeah, so now the Rangers create new turbo powers to go after them. All except for Rocky's, which stays behind. So Adam is the Desert Thunder Green Ranger. Desert Thunder is his Zord. Tanya, Yellow Ranger. Doomstar is her Zord. Cat is the Pink Ranger. Still, these are all still the same. But Wind Chaser is her Zord. And then you have Tommy, Red Ranger. Red Lightning is his Zord. They asked about Rockies, and Zord says you'll have to go just the 4 of you for now. And after they leave, we see them introduce a new Red Ranger or new Blue Ranger who's in a suit. And this is where I've always been at the issue. I'm like, you showed it in the trailer that it was gonna be Justin. What? See, that's what I hate about movies and trailers. They'll show a spoiler in the trailer, and you just know that when you watch the movie, it's gonna be treated as a surprise, as a twist, because that's how it works. But the marketing spoils it. The marketing spoiled who the Blue Ranger was going to be. With Justin showing the scene where Justin shows up and going, guys, I'm the new Blue Ranger. The marketing spoiled that. And here in the movie, they treat it like a mystery. Even if they didn't spoil it, it might be obvious because, who's the only one left? I have a better option, but we'll talk about that when I get to do my video on it. I think I'm going to do that. Anyway, it's Justin. So, yeah. So, they go to the boat, and then Justin shows up behind him. Guys, I'm a new Blue Ranger. By the way, how did he drive? He has a line that says, Alpha gave me a crash course in driving. Okay, but how did you reach the pedals? Only way he can reach the pedals is if he morphs, because we know that when he morphs, he's taller. But everyone inside those cars did not morph. They were not morphed. So, they morphed just to then mean the cars that aren't morphed. We get the Turbo theme song, which, say what you want to say about the show, about this season. It's not good, but the theme song is a banger. Go! Power Rangers Turbo, go! Power Rangers Turbo, banger of a theme. It slaps, as the kids say. Let's just say that. Yeah, the banger. Anyway, so they get on this ship, then they gotta go to the Nemesis Triangle, and they gotta use their keys to break on through to the other side. We get another banger of a song. There's hope for the world. Hope for the world. Yeah. But they're attacked by putrid pods because Divatox somehow knows where they are. Here's the big thing. Zordon tells him they'll be undetectable on the ship. Yeah, she can't detect the ship, but she can detect 5 life forms floating on the water. But the ship is not detected. That's bullshit. Well, the ship can be detected. You can, but the ship can't. That's bullshit. Well, they're on the ship. They should be undetectable. But they gotta do that. So they send out the Putropods. They fight them. We get a line from Tanya that are like, they're showing the Love Boat. What's the Love Boat? They just laugh. And then the next day's where I have the problem. So they go through Nemesis Triangle, and Adam. Apparently, the cars can go into the water, but they can't. They need the ship to breach the triangle. So Adam goes to the island in his car. I forgot a plot point. Back in the ship before they cross the triangle, Jason and Kimberly break open the bilge and are able to try to escape. Bulk, Skull, or Antonio Banderas and Bulk and Kimberly are able to get out. Kimberly's shirt gets caught, so Jason's not able to get out in time. The other three are before it's sealed, so he's stuck. And the others reach the island. Bulk and Skull kind of wander off when Kimberly gets taken. They just kind of hide because they're stupid. Again, you're mistraining characters that could be more useful than this. Whatever. So they're captured by these islanders who work for Malagor, so they're just taken back to where Divatox is because she wants to marry Malagor. Forgot to mention that. And Malagor is this big demonic creature thing that the suit is later used for Dark Spectre in Power Rangers in Space. Yeah. They even make a reference to it. You look like my ex-husband or my beloved Malagor or something like that, what she says. I don't remember. So, like I said, Adam gets over to the island. He sees the torpedoes heading towards the ship. He's unable to reach them, and the ship explodes. But surprise, they're still alive. I don't know why the hell they did it. This is one of the most confusing things is why they do this, because it makes no sense to me. Oh, they're just going to be dead before the climax. Come on. They reach the island. They oversee things. And so Divatox takes Jason and Kimberly into the volcano lair of Malagor to be sacrifices. The Rangers realize this is the time to morph. And here we go. It's time for the climax. Time for them to finally morph. Yeah, there's a lot of complaints that there's not a lot of morphing in this. But the original didn't. But the original had a point to why they didn't morph. They didn't have powers. Here, they get their powers, they morph, and then they're unmorphed until here. So they do the shift into turbo. And yes, Blake Foster did use the wrong arm. They left it in the movie because they thought it worked for Justin, I guess. I guess it does. They morph. And they go in and they fight the bad guys. And they save the Lyranthians. The Lyranthians? Fucking Largo and his family are saved, but they're unable to save Jason and Kimberly before they are sacrificed and turned evil, because it's Power Rangers and they can't die, so they're just turned evil. And that's, again, they spoiled this in the trailer, because I remember seeing the part where Kimberly goes, "Honey, Pink is out," and she kicks her, and I'm like, well, first of all, she's also wearing pink. I just want to point that out. Also, there's a line earlier where they say they came back to Angel Grove to surprise them for the homeless shelter thing. Jason didn't have to come back from anywhere. He's already in Angel Grove because at the end of Zeo, he was with his girlfriend still in Angel Grove. What did he and his girlfriend decide to leave and then he comes back with Kim? I don't know. It makes no sense. Whoever wrote this didn't pay attention in the end of Zeo, that's for sure. Not that it completely matters, but anyway. The Rangers are forced to fight their friends, but Largo uses magic to reverse Kimberly's. But Jason almost has Tommy thrown into the fire, and Tommy stupidly kicks Jason and flips him over, almost knocking him into the lava pit. But luckily, Malagor decides to fly up, and they all fly out as Kimberly tries to help. And Kimberly says the line, "I'll go help the Lanthians," and I'm like, or the Laranthians, whatever, and I'm like, you don't know who they are. You've been hypnotized. You've never met them before. How do you know them? How do you know their name? Their species. You've never met them before. What? But Jason is still under the control until they zap him and he saves Kimberly. And I do like the exchange they have. He's like, huh. He's like, thank you. He's like, eh. He's like, thank you. He's like, well, anytime. See, my stutter's on. Thank you. Anytime. Anytime. She kind of hits his chest or whatever. Yeah. So, it's time for the final battle because everything is going. Malagor's too strong. They lead him out. He grows. They keep jumping the Megazord. And they defeat him. And then they take everyone in the Megazord and we just smash cut to the karate tournament. Yeah. Where Jason is now a part of the team. They had no time to set up the replacement. It's just cut. He's there. They're in the tournament. It's already happening. Or they're already fighting. It's already happening. And Angel Grove wins. They save the shelter. We get terrible fighters in the night. Yeah, and then movie ends. There is no real wrap up here. Like, we don't have time to wrap anything up. End it. Have them win. End with a song. Right? I mean, it's more of a fight than I'm giving it credit for, but they could have just done more. We need more to this, more wrap up, right? They just defeated a bad guy. They got new powers. There's no discussion, no nothing. There's not even a setup. Like, Rocky and Ninja is so stupid, and there's not even a whole question of who's going to replace him. Jason just there, and Jason just is now fighting with them. So I don't know. I don't hate this movie. This movie is certainly better than anything that this season of the show would give you, because it's a little more up there. You know, it's still PG, but, you know, it's a little more grounded than what the show would be. They decided the show is going to be way more geared to kids. This has a little more something. I'll give it a high middle of the road. I know that's a drop from the last one, which is To the Moon, but I'll give it a high middle of the road. It's either a high middle of the road or a low pretty good, and I think a high middle of the road works better. So, yeah, but I got ideas for a video. We'll figure it out. But anyway, what are your thoughts on Turbo Power Rangers movie? Leave a comment below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Scott, and I'll see you in the next one.